What's going on, guys? It's 6 a.m. and I thought, you know what, while the family's sleeping, what better thing to do than to get in and work on our car. And today, everything behind that, apart from the brake pads, is going to get replaced or upgraded or made new again. So, let's get to it. Alright, wheel nuts are off, and we probably can throw these in the bin actually, because I have a little surprise coming for these wheels, and we don't need them. Okay guys, so a couple of videos back, I think it's about 2 videos now, we painted our calipers, put new pads in, braided brake lines, painted the wheel well, but I couldn't replace the rotors because they actually hadn't arrived yet. And I've actually got some special rotors in there that I'm going to be putting in. They're actually, well, how do you say it? They're used on, well, the technology is from, was used in Porsche race cars, so we'll see how they go, but theoretically, they should be pretty good. So we're going to be putting new rotors on it, new bearings in the hubs. As you can see, these hubs are different to most other things. To get the rotor off, you can't just remove the caliper, slip the rotor off, put a new rotor on. You've literally got to take the rotor off, pull the whole knuckle off the car, press out the hub, undo these bolts which are holding the hub to the rotor, press it all out, which pretty much stuffs your bearings as you do it. Replace the bearings, put a new rotor on, and then press it all back together, and then you can then put it back on the car. So I figure if we're going to be taking this off, to the knuckle off to replace the rotors, we'll do bearings, clean up the hubs, paint the knuckle so it looks nice with our suspension up there, and we can get rid of this dust shield too, because we don't actually need it anymore. It's going to be a track car, so we're going to remove it just so we can get some easy ventilation to these rotors, because these things, the new rotors that go on, I've been told that they'll glow red and not lose any stopping power. So they're going to get quite hot. So we'll remove the dust shield, or the backing plate there, and then we'll get it all back on the car. It's going to be quite the mission. Okay, so we've got one off here. This thing, she's a bit, that noise is just the dust cover sliding on the rotor. Not to worry. Got it off, and it's actually not too hard once you figure out how to get it done. Pretty easy. Okay, so we're in my little garden shed right now, which will kind of turn into a little workshop, so it might sound a bit weird in here, but this is where we're going to work for the moment. So I got both knuckles off. Essentially all we have to do, pop those 4 bolts off, press it all apart, and then put the new parts on. So over a couple of weeks back, I saw this on Facebook Marketplace. It's been used twice. It's a 12-ton press from Repco. Picked it up for 120 bucks, so that's what we're going to be using today. And then I had to get some other tools. So bearing race and seal driver, seal puller, punch, hammer, new bearings, thanks to Dale at Pit Stop Racing. All this is available on his website, these bearings. Full bearing set. See if I can open it up with one hand. So you've got your seals and inner and outer bearings. So 2 sets of those. I had to pick up bearing and grease packer because I need to pack these bearings, and I'm not going to sit here for hours doing it by hand. High temp wheel bearing grease from Penrite. Brake rotors. Freemax brake rotors. Now these things are quite a little bit special. They're actually used on Porsche Carrera Cup cars over in Brazil, and these are also used on all the technology. Sorry, not these actual rotors, but the technology in these things is used on the Brazilian stock cars. And this cool recyclable packaging, and to open it up, just pull the tab, and the top should come off. I feel it's a bit difficult with one hand. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. There we are. 2 rotors packed neatly in there. And the beautiful thing is that they've got a special coating on there, where essentially you don't need to actually wipe them down, which I still will, before you use them. So we'll get those back in the case in a second. New wheel studs, extended wheel studs for the front. 73mm wheel studs, so we can run a bit of extra width in the front, some camber, and got some caliper paint so we can paint our knuckles, make them nice and schmick. It's a gloss black, so it should match the suspension when it's done. So all this has got to go on. There's only one thing I'm missing, so hopefully I don't need it, and that's a bearing separator. I ordered it and it never showed up. I called them up and they said, oh, we forgot about it, so they're going to send it to me. So hopefully I don't need it. If I do, I'll just have to sort something out, but hopefully it'll be alright. Anyway, time to rip these knuckles apart and clean them up, get them sorted. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 pop. All right, it's quite hot out here today. I think it's almost 28 degrees and about 60% humidity, so it's quite hot. But enough about the weather. We've got our knuckles off now. We have cleaned them up. We have taped them off, and now we're about to go and paint them. Now we're using the same caliper paint as we used on the calipers, except we're just using gloss black to match the suspension, so it should come up nicely. So we'll just tape them off, and obviously if you watch the other video, we've got to cure them and then put them back on the car and rebuild them. So that's what we'll get to right now. Spray that all over here. Okay, after a busy morning, just took these in and got the saw Dale Pit Stop Racing again, and got these got the bearings pulled off these because my bearing separator has not actually arrived yet, and I need to get the bearings off. So we'll give these a clean up. Painted the knuckles, so they're about to go in and cure. They're looking very nice. So while those are curing, I'll press out these wheel studs and give these hubs a clean up. Press out these wheel studs and put these new extended ones on. So okay, so how we're going to do this is I've got to press these studs out through the bottom. What I'm going to use is just picked up a cheap bit of galvanized pipe from the local hardware store. I think it was about $3. I'll just put this up there, sit the stud in there, and there. And there we go, there's one. Now just got to do the last remaining 7 on these front hubs. There we go. Time to get to it. Some people may be wondering why I'm pushing out the studs on these hubs. Well, these are the studs that come on the car. Just for a normal wheel, and they're perfectly fine for a road if you're using it on the road, but on the track we can run wheel space, so we want to make the front track width as wide as possible. On the front track we can run a -4 degrees worth of camber, so we go to a 73mm stud, which is this one here, and if you look at the difference, there's quite a lot. So there probably will be a bit of this, the end of it sticking out. That's fine, because we've got a solution for that as well, but that's why we pushed out these little studs, and we're going to stick them in with these nice big beefy boys here, these long extended ones. So now we've just got to go through now, once, because we've pressed out all our studs from our hub, these now have to go and be pushed in, or pressed in into our hub there, so making them nice and long. So nothing left to do but just to do it. Get rid of those old studs and put the new ones in. And just like that, our hubs are pretty much all complete now, so we've just got to put it all back together. They're so much easier pressing these longer studs in when you think about it. Compare the size. That's essentially the difference there. So actually no, that would be about the size right there. So quite a difference in length. No, let's see if we can get the angle to show you. There you go. But they're in. And now we're just going to put the get the rotors ready, and then start bolting these to the rotors, which will be very nice to get that done. All right. So, as I mentioned towards the start, these rotors are they're made in Brazil, South American. They're a high carbon content rotor, and they've been used on the same technology is in these as it's used in the Brazilian Porsche, I think it's GT Cup or Carrera Cup, whatever it is over there, and also the Brazilian Stock Car Championship. Now, if you've ever seen the Brazilian Stock Car Championship, they're pretty heavy on the brakes. And these are the this is the technology that's used in both of them. So they're essentially exactly the same as the other ones. I'll pull the other ones up. Now, in terms of thickness, they're probably about the same thickness, but obviously much newer. They come with a essentially a special oil, an oil film on them, which means they're ready to go. You don't need to clean them off, even though we probably will. And they just bolt straight on. So obviously these are our hubs. They sit in there like so, and we get our bolts. I'll just put the bolts straight in there, and they should go straight in, which they will. So Much nicer than the old crusty ones that we got down there that have looked like they've been sitting in the car for Lord knows how long. But what I'll do is I've got some brake clean over there, I'll give them a quick wipe down. And actually I might even know I'll test it out. We'll see how it goes. If it's ready to go and we don't need to clean all the oil and stuff off it, then in theory I shouldn't have to wipe it down. So because I don't know when I'll be driving this car next, I might just leave the rotors to go, and I'll bolt this hub straight on and get ready to start pressing some rotors back into the hub, or into the knuckles, once they finish curing. So we've still got a heap to do. We've got the bearings, got to pack the bearings and stuff yet, so get this on. Now, I measured before, I did measure to make sure these are all square. The knuckles are the studs are all square, which they are. And to my former student Gibbo, who said I should get a impact wrench instead of an impact driver, it's in the works, mate. But right now this is all I've got, so I'll continue using it, and then once you get the impact wrench, it'll make life a whole lot easier. Alright, that's one done. What I'll do is I'll just stick it back in here for the moment. The other one. There we go. Makes it easier. The rotors come with little notches taken out for your studs to sit in, so it makes it easy just lining it up. Just rotate it around, and then the holes for the bolts will line up as well. But that is your front hub and rotor assembly. Quite neat really, isn't it? Just old technology. If only the Koreans made life easier, hey? Okay, so our knuckle, I've got the two inner and outer race in there, ready for our bearings to go in. So I've just attempted to grease one and went alright. Enough to do the job, so it's very well packed. When you're putting your bearing races in, guys, invest in something like this. It's just a bearing race and seal driver kit. That was about $60, but it makes your life so much easier instead of just using just a punch or a drift to get it in. It went in about 20 seconds, or if that. Very, very nice and easily. So now we'll just we'll get the bearings in, put the seals on, and then get ready to push it all back together. Alright, both bearings packed, seals on, races in. Starting to look really nice actually, because the painted comes up really good. Now I've got to put these and press them into that. So this essentially lifts up straight out of here, sits down onto that. So I think what we might do is flip that over and press this onto the actual rotor here. My creaky door here is giving me a bit of grief, so stick this on the press and we'll press this on, and then it should be good to go. We'll go put it back on the car, see how we go. Alright, we've got this on and nice and smooth. Even this one over here, I'll lift this one across. It's beautiful as well. So now we've got these done, I'll give the rotors a bit of a clean up with some some brake cleaner, and then we'll put them back on the car. It may have to wait till tonight because I have a 7-year-old's birthday party I have to go to, which I'm absolutely stoked about. So well, at least we've got this done now. We can get this all back on the car, get it situated, and get it looking good. I'm very happy with that. Alright, well, since I've got a fraction of a time, I might at least attempt to try and get some of this back together. I'll just give the, I'll do it later. I'll give the, before I put the wheels back on, I'll put the, give the brake disc a clean, but I'll get the hubs and the knuckles and all that back on, but they should be good. If not, at least now I know how to change a bearing in a XL. So, let's go. Rotor on, bearings done, caliper back on, brake line's back on, shims in. I haven't connected up the tie rod yet because the tie rod end on the other side is it's shagged, and so I figure if I'm going to do one, I might as well do both. So I'll keep those off for the moment and see if I can find one tomorrow and get that all bolted up. But it's I'm very happy with that. It's it'll be coming along really nicely. Now, you may be wondering why I've put the shims in, because they didn't work with the stock Steelies last time I had it on. Well, I think it's about time I show you what wheels we're going to be running on this car, and I'm quite excited by them. So, let's go check them out. Alright, let's have a look. Open them up upside down. And for some of you that know these wheels, you know exactly what wheels these are, but for others, these are... Let's see if I can get it in. There we go. Koya AE, I think AE Tech Hyundai XL wheels, which will look absolutely magical on this car, so we can get rid of those rims that look like the pox and stick these ones on. Now these wheels are a plus 25 offset, a seriously beefy wheel compared to your stock standard ones. Now these are going in tomorrow to get some tyres put on them, so I'll show you. We'll pick up the video probably after, when I get back and get these videos. I'll get this tyres mounted. But alright, next day guys, I've got these wheels mounted up with some new rubber on them, and while I was waiting for that to happen, I went and finished off these rotors, got them all mounted back up. It's actually quite nice. I had to put had to get new tie rod ends there because the other ones, literally when I went to mount it up, they just fell apart, just disintegrated in my hands. So new tie rods, we got the shims in there, the knuckles are painted, new rotors, new bearings, wheel spacers, pads, the caliper there is painted, and it's once this wheel goes on, it should be a very nice looking unit underneath there. New suspension. So that's both sides, looks like that. Now, time to show you these wheels with them mounted up. Alright, so these are our tyres mounted up on our Koya XL rims. And for the keen eye, you'll notice that the brand of tyre on there is not actually a Control Federal tyre, and I'll get to that very shortly. But you can see, compared to the stock standard wheels, they're about the same size. The rims are a bit bigger. That's a 15 inch, this is a 13 inch. But if we stand them up, you'll see the difference in terms of width. See if I can line them up. There we go. Alright, you can see the our new race wheels are a little bit wider, which is nice compared to the old stock standard epoxy looking steelies with the high flies on them. So this treadwear pattern is actually from a brand called Vitor. It's a Tempesta Enzo wheel. Quite a nice tyre actually. Now the reason why these are mounted up onto this wheel is that to get wheels or tyres shipped to Townsville can be quite expensive. For us to order a federal tyre and get it up here, it still costs the same as what you would down south, but then to ship it, you've got shipping costs on top of that. Now if you're from North Queensland, you'd know how much it actually costs to ship stuff up here, and it's not cheap. Then you've got your fitting costs on top of that. And then you go to, then you can put them on your car. So for a normal federal tyre, I think they're about 110, 115 if you get them through the state club. Shipping costs on top of that, so just say it's $15 a tyre. Mounting costs, $26 a tyre. So it starts to add up pretty quick. Now, the beautiful thing about these Tempesta Enzos is that Luke from E-Tyre Store in Townsville has decided to come on board and help us out with us XL races up here in North Queensland, and he does these tyres for, I think today I paid $125 fitted each for those tyres on the rims. So he's been a massive help for us. People, before anyone jumps down my neck and jumps on my back and says that's wrong, I said, if we were going to go away and race at a Motorsport Australia sanctioned event with the State XL Series, by all means we'll be putting federal tyres on. Up here in North Queensland, we're going to run through our club, which means we can do this by putting these tyres on our cars. All the cars are being built to Motorsport Australia specifications. The only thing that's different is going to be the tyres. We understand up here that people down south will probably get annoyed by that. We're just trying to make it as affordable and cheap for us up here, so more people get involved and we can get more people on track. And tyres being a big consumable product is a big part of that. So Luke has generously come on board. Like I said, about $125 mounted through E-Tyre Store here in Townsville. So if you're in Townsville and you're building your XL, that's the tyre we're going for. And if you are going to come and race up here in Townsville in the future, just give Luke a call. He just got a massive order in, about 30 tyres, ready to mount them up for you. He's even suggested, I think I heard he can try and do some trackside support if possible. He's got a van he can take out there and mount tyres and stuff like that. So thanks to Luke, E-Tyre Store Townsville, for setting these up for us, because we are extremely grateful that he's done it. And not only that, for a semi-slick and treadwear and tread pattern, it's not too bad. And from what I hear, the grip they produce is quite good. I know a lot of drifters over in Europe, they're a European tyre. Drifters over in Europe use them for their grip, but they're also got a lot of longevity, and they last quite a long time too. So that's why we went for them. So we'll get them on the car and see what they look like. All right. Oh, look at them. Done. How good does that look? That is the duck's nuts, eh? Would you look at that?
Oh, would you look at that?
Put that. How good do they look? Starting to look like a real race car now, except I wonder if we get some new spacers, because we've got he'd poke that side, but if you come around the other side, got a fair bit there too, but I think we just need to get a decent wheel alignment on that, and then we'll go from there. But it's she's starting to look like a race car now. That is awesome. Unreal. Well, I guess that's another job done on this car. We've got wheels, bearings, rotors, all the good stuff done. We've got studs done down there. It's another great thing, but it's certainly starting to look really racy now. So, whoop, tripping over too much stuff. It's starting to look the goods, nice and low. Be interesting to see how I go getting to this car now, given that it's so low to the ground. With those wheels on this car, what I've planned for it, it's nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Very happy. Alright guys, I will see you next time. Hopefully next time we'll be mounting the seat, getting all that stuff taken care of. And hopefully by then we'll have a harness, things like that, and we can start to get real racy. So the goal is just to get it on track as soon as possible and then take care of everything else underneath after that. But right now, it's looks nice. Look at that. I guess I'll see you next time when we have more stuff to this car. In fact, I already have some stuff for the next video. Just gotta wait for a few other things to come in. But until next time, I'm gonna go take a shower, go pick up my kid from daycare, and then start planning out the next part of this build. I'll see you then.
I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me, ballin' like Houston.